Hello there. Well, I have just finished grading all of the fun beginning of the semester assignments, and I had a few students email me and say, "What is it exactly that these measure?" And I'm blown away. So I thought I'd just take a minute and answer that question and tell you exactly what I learned from each one of those assignments. But before I do that, I want to tell you a little story. Years ago, I was in graduate school and I had a professor. I was taking 18th century novels, and oh, what a course. We had to read a novel a week. These were like 1,000, 1,500 pages, hundreds and hundreds of characters. And then I go in to take the exam. It wasn't the final, it wasn't the midterm, thank goodness. And I sat down and I have my head full of characters, full of plot points, and I have everything separated in my head. I always see it like a filing cabinet, so I have things organized in there. And I sit down to write this essay exam, and I think I'd just do a great job. I skim the directions and I just start writing, and I make my little outline like I do, and I just did the whole thing. It was wonderful, I thought. I get the grade back. He gives me a C. You know, in graduate school, a C is the same thing as an F. I look at that and I go, what? What? And he didn't write comments. He wasn't one of the ones that had a rubric or wrote comments, just to see. So I go to see him in his office hours and I said, "What's the deal with this?" He goes, "You didn't read the directions." I go, "Oh, I get it. Well, now that I have read the directions, can I resubmit it?" And he said, "You know, that's not how college works." I was so mad. I went, all right, all right. Lo and behold, a few years later into graduate school, I took this Renaissance literature course. I had to write an essay. So I just glanced over what the essay was supposed to be, sat down and wrote the essay, turned it in, and I got a B. It wasn't a C, but it was a B, which to me doesn't sound good. So I go to see him and I go, what's the matter with my essay? And he said, "Well, you didn't read the directions." And I went, my goodness. And I said, "Okay, well, now that I have read the directions, can I resubmit the essay?" And he goes, "You know, that's not how college works. You submit something and then I grade it, and then we move on." So some of you have received grades from me on some of the assignments, and you go, "Okay, well, now that I've got it, I want to resubmit it with those corrections." And that's not how it works. The good news is that before you submitted it, there's a writing center, there are free tutors, there are resources, there are online resources to check your assignment before you submit the work for me to grade. As the classroom instructor, I create the content, I follow the course curriculum guidelines for the district, for the state, and for the school. I prepare the content to meet all of those requirements, and then you write the assignments that I provide, and then I grade your assignments. I don't reteach it. I don't regrade your assignment once you find out what you did wrong. I made a couple of exceptions at the beginning of the semester because they're so critical. So many of you said, "Well, why are those assignments so critical? What exactly do you learn?" Well, in most cases, for most of my classes, I have students complete the colors assignment, and I say it's proof that you're brilliant. Some people say, "Oh, she's just blowing smoke." I'm not. If I was going to say this proves that you're smart, I would say it proves that you're smart, but it proves that you're brilliant. What does that teach me about you? Because we're online and I don't get the benefit of seeing you face to face, I get to see you online and I learn how you think and how you see the world. Students who write descriptions of colors that are very simple don't tell me that the person is simple. It tells me that the person is either rushed or they're very linear in their thinking, very logical in their thinking. And that's what I learned from that. Remember, what you're called to do in this assignment is have a color idea over here, purple, and over here you find an image that contains shades of purple. You describe that shade of purple in a creative way, and that's what you come up with for your color. So Heartbreak Red is based on a picture of somebody, a little broken heart, and Heartbreak Red is a concept. Some people wrote Heavenly White. That is an incredible concept, isn't it? Think about it a second. Some people wrote Banana Yellow. Okay, Banana Yellow is fine. You can hear that it's not transcending over into the realm of whoa, what a concept, but it's okay. I mean, it's a shade of yellow that is banana colored. Now, if it had been fresh banana yellow or a shade of green that would you say brand new banana, that would be a little bit more into the creative processing. Some of you really find some fantastic colors. One person found this little shade of brown, and it was a picture of a leaf. And she took this color of brown that was kind of pixelated and kind of wispy, and she called it Final Breath Brown. Whoa, you can see that color without even seeing the picture. The idea is to be able to close my eyes, hear the words that you just wrote, and see, can I see the color? So those of you that really did well in that exercise, you're off the charts. And it tells me exactly how you think. It tells me what kind of time you put into reading instructions. It tells me where you get confused, if you got confused. It tells me how you swing back and get back on the track. I did let you resubmit that one because it's so important. It teaches me so much about you. Prepositions are everywhere. And in high school and grammar school, they teach the parts of speech and make it such a torture, in my experience. And they're fun. Punctuation is fun. Prepositions are fun. I sit down to write and I go, am I in the news? Are we on the news? Is this over the news? Is this under the news? Is it around the news? What in the world? Prepositions are our very life. So this lamp is on the table. We were on board the ship, and I gave you all those images to use to inspire you to see the world as prepositions, which is exactly how we see the world. And now you just put a word on it. It's able to put that word on there. Now, later on, you're going to be doing a lot of different things in this course. If you're assigned watching a short documentary, now you see the world there. They're on an island. They're in the woods. They're over a factory. That's the wonderful thing about that exercise. It helps train you to actually articulate the entirety of the world. That's prepositions. Fun, huh? The Easy Bib assignment. Oh, how we suffer through that Easy Bib assignment sometimes. Here's the thing. Here's exactly what happens. When you are in college, the days of writing just words in a journal are over. It is time to write words that are specific, that are detailed. So, a friend of mine was asking me to fill in, or I was substituting or something, and I was looking at some of these essays that students were writing in high school, and they're just all over the place. They're writing things like, a ton of people went to the concert. How many is a ton of people? Is it 1,000 people? Is it 10 people? How many are a ton? And I've mentioned that to you before. But the whole idea of research is knowing exactly how many people attended that concert according to these statistics, according to box office sales. This number of people bought tickets. This is how much this earned. Finding those specific facts. That's the name of the game in college. And so when you take the time to research something, it has to go into a document that shows the reader what you researched. That's where EasyBib comes in. It's the best software I've ever found because it always formats properly. So now you're creating the citation and you have a list. All this time, a brainstorm is happening. Upon entering EasyBib, it can be where is it? I don't know. What is 59 methods? Where are they? And it can be very intimidating until that learning curve is mastered and I realize just how easy EasyBib is. And so when that is completed, you've completed the project, you've documented everything in the essay, you've shown the reader where you got information. Now it's time to create your works cited page. Many of you go, so what? It was one letter, I put works cited. It's one very important letter, because if you completed the process of exporting to either a Google Doc or a Word doc, it would have formatted works cited. So it shows me right off the bat that you didn't format the work. When you do format the work, and you do go through export, let's say export as a Google Doc, here's what happens. You're on your computer, you just clicked create the citation. And here's what happens. You're not on your phone, but you're on the computer, and it propagates and it opens. And the second that that document opens and you see that perfectly formatted list, everything double spaced, all of it beautifully done, your mind goes into this heavenly place that we call critical thinking. Critical thinking goes everywhere. It goes from here. It goes from here into the university if you're moving on to a university. It moves on into graduate school. It is all about documenting what you've learned. If you go into X-ray technology and you're going to become an X-ray technician and you're getting an associate's degree so that you can do that, it's all about critical thinking. It's all about being able to document what you just did. Everything is. And so creating an essay with the work cited is critical. It's critically important, and it shows your ability to just go, oh my, what did I just do? It's life-changing. So that's the EasyBib thing. And some of you just did the export, you popped it in, and you missed that moment because there wasn't that moment of organizing it, clicking the edit button and making sure that everything looks pristine and perfect. I have that in that video number 4 of EasyBib, showing you exactly how to edit that. So that's the deal on EasyBib. And the My Music exercise, many of you have the My Music assignment. That tells me so much about you. It tells me how you hear the world, how you see the world, what words in the world are important to you. And what happens is I open up your My Music assignment and I see the title, and I have the title playing while I'm grading your essay. So I'm looking at this document, and on the upper left is your name, course, date, word count. That's your ownership of the assignment. This is where you put your stamp, your seal of approval on an assignment. Plus, I have to have that in order to grade something, because otherwise I'm putting a grade on something that doesn't have a name attached to it. But for you, it shows you your ownership. Now we have a title. Oh, kids, titles tell me so much. I learn so much about you from the titles that you give to everything. Even if your title was My Music, that tells me something important. Some of you came up with the most creative, delightful titles. Under that, on the left, and again, you had all the instructions, tutorial, and 2 examples to show this. We have a picture of the performer in performance. Now we have the lyrics, then your paragraph, beautifully written. Did you underline the thesis statement? Did you follow the directions step by step by step? If you did, your paragraph is beautifully developed. The thesis statement is underlined, and in the middle of that paragraph, we have a second image, a different image, of the performer performing that piece of music. Not a poster, not an album cover, but a person in motion. Why does that matter, you say? What's the difference whether I put a poster in there or put somebody singing a song? Because when you write an analytical paragraph, and you are analyzing something that is flowing, that is movement, that is in motion, which is a song. A song doesn't just sit there, it moves, it's in motion. Your analysis of that song, likewise, is in motion. And when you attach an image of the performer in performance of that piece of music, everything's moving. And your brain has moved with it into a higher level of learning. And that's the name of the game. Under that paragraph, if I see that works cited that shows everything that I asked you to include in that, all beautifully formatted, now you're getting ready to turn that in. You create the PDF and you look at the PDF. And for many students, that experience is transcendent, just from My Music. just going, oh my goodness, this is so pretty. It looks so good. The title, the lyrics, the images are so crisp and clean and sharp and clear, and I'm so proud of this. And then you submit the work. And that's the way it happens. And those beginning exercises then show me so much about how you think. Now, some students are included with the mixed media assignment where you're taking the picture of somebody. And it's either a fabulous experience if students read the directions, or it's challenging when students didn't read the directions. Because here's the thing about that one. As one of my students say, you're going for the money shot. So you have your subject in front of you with your camera, and you say, I'm taking pictures of things that I think are beautiful. Now you have to wait in uncomfortable silence while your subject realizes, oh my goodness, he or she is talking about me. Then you take the picture and you get that money shot. I'm using that. That was really good. If you, as many of you wrote in your paragraph, if you say, I'm taking things that I think are beautiful, and I think you're really beautiful, you robbed them of that moment. They didn't get to have that moment where they realized that you were talking about them. And also, you showed that you have that impatience that many of us have, I know I have, of enduring an uncomfortable silence. Now, that uncomfortable silence is going to come up when you're writing other essays, when you are interviewing somebody. So when you are interviewing a subject for a research paper that's coming up, and you ask them a question and they don't have an answer right there, there's that uncomfortableness of just letting them think a minute and then answer. And then I say, well, what am I supposed to do with myself while they're thinking? Wait. I've had people that are not really interviewing me, asking questions. So they go, so what can I help you with today? Is it your transcript? Is it your course things? Is it your credits? I'm going, if you'll just be quiet, I'll tell you what it is that I want from you. But they can't handle that moment of just giving me a minute to answer. They have to fill in the gap. Now, when you are writing, whether you're writing narrative essay, and of course that's going to be where you really have the patience because you've created these characters and they're up there, and if you'll be quiet long enough, the characters will speak and will drive the narrative, will drive the story, but you have to be patient. And I can't stand it when my characters aren't talking. I have to be quiet. One time I was writing this screenplay, I put the character in a heck of a predicament. Just a predicament. And it was 2 days before I figured out what I was going to do with that character in the predicament. Meanwhile, the character is just sort of creating, that's creative writing though. But for writing an analytical essay, being patient with myself when I'm studying about whatever it is that I'm writing about. There's a patience that takes place because I don't always do a Google search and have all the articles appear for me right there at my beck and call, and I don't have to do anything other than just click on the right article. That's not the way it works. It takes time. And so that's what the beauty of that assignment is. Everything that you did in those beginning assignments has taught me about you. I know how you think. I know when you're busy. I know when you rush something. And I know when you have taken your time on something. I can tell when you did something by yourself because I know exactly how you think from the colors assignment. And I really appreciate that. It's a gift. And I really enjoy watching you learn. I love watching you get the payoff at the end of the semester or in all of these assignments when you have watched something and written something and proved to yourself that you can write beautifully. I want you to be well-written, well-versed, well-spoken people. And so that's what I'm learning from those. They're all done, everything's turned in, and let's move on, keep moving forward. You're brilliant, and I mean it.